Oh, apparently this glows in the dark. If you turn off the lights right now, you can see it.
The liquid
Packaging. Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Nerd Age Podcast. Today we're going to be doing some crazy stuff. We got Jonah and we got Josh here.
What up?
Just us three.
How's it going?
And you know what? We got a lot of rumors going on today. This last week's been kind of nuts.
Been pretty crazy.
Have you guys ever missed Iron Man? Ever heard of him? The rumor is he may or may not come back. We don't know. But today we're going to be talking about a lot of rumors, especially with the Marvel universe. It's kind of crazy. I've just been seeing nonstop rumors. And I'm just like, what is real? What is not? We're going to go over them. We've got a couple other things. BlizzCon happened as well. So we're going to talk about BlizzCon. I watched all of it. A lot of crazy stuff going on there. We had Planet of the Apes trailer as well. So we're going to be doing that stuff up. And then at the end, we'll be covering Loki. But yeah, let's start out with the MCU stuff.
Yeah. So Variety came out with this massive article that was just kind of...
was that the breeding ground of all these things that?
Yeah. So they came out with like this big article saying like, this is what's been going on. Like they did reshoots for the Marvels movie. They're panicking because the box office is bad. The Jonathan Majors situation with Kang.
Yes.
They're thinking of going to Doctor Doom.
That's right.
All this kind of stuff. And then when that dropped and everyone was freaking out, a bunch of like insiders or people that like know things or say they know things.
Insiders, yeah.
They're saying that's not true and that's not entirely true. So it's just a bunch of like
bollocks,
a bunch of nerds that were freaking out. But I think we'll take it by piece. So one of the big things that came out was that they had said that Disney and the Marvel executives and Feige were like, it didn't work out after Iron Man left and we lost the original Avengers. Fans and audiences didn't really accept the new heroes that they have given, like the Eternals, Shang-Chi, that kind of stuff, the new Captain America. So their idea now is to bring back Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, and they're saying like they need to bring these characters back. Now, let's just talk about that for a sec, because I think that's a mistake. Because I just feel like you stop rehashing bringing back characters, let them be done. Just make better movies and better characters. Like, you can still do that. I feel like the quality of the movies has diminished. But what do you guys think of bringing back Robert Downey Jr. or the original Avengers? Is that just a cash grab?
I mean, it's interesting because I think this is the first time, I don't know, at least from what I've seen, this is the first time that they're actually, not directly, but inadvertently admitting that they made mistakes on how they did their characters. And I agree with them because when I look at Spider-Man, right, he lived, he survived, and he's one of the favorites, right? He's like one of the only people that people like still. Why is that? Well, Spider-Man is very likable, but also I think they did a really good job tying his story with the core five, you know, especially with Iron Man, right? And we got to care about him. Yeah. And they did a good job. But these other characters that they tried to introduce, the new, I mean, I guess not Rhodey, the new Captain America. What's his name? I'm so sorry. I forget. Anyway, the new Captain America, his buddy, like his best friend. Nice.
The Falcon. You know, that's his name. I don't know what his actual name. Why can't I think of his freaking name?
I don't think they did a very good. I mean, they did spend some time on him, but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's just I wasn't like sold on him. But other than that, I don't know any other.
I know the
characters.
actor's name, Anthony Mackie.
Then that's even better. Anthony Mackie. Great.
What's his name in the? Why am I spacing on his name?
It's the Falcon, dude.
I don't think. Yeah,
but I think that's an issue, right? And I think that they're now going back and they're like, you know what, that is an issue, but they're not admitting to it. But I don't think it's the answer to go back and say, all right, we'll just run it back again.
Yeah.
Like that does feel like a cash grab, kind of, but it also feels like a Band-Aid that's pretty weak. Like you can't build your future on old characters and like older actors who, you know, I don't know, they're going to get they're going to get old.
Yeah.
I mean, you can de-age, but like, I don't know, man. How many times can you do this? Well, I don't know. It's tough because I see a lot of other IPs doing the same kind of thing where they're just trying to rehash, and it's like it doesn't work for other people.
I think the biggest problem is they've gotten too big. Every movie feels like it's like we got to pull in like the multiverse. We got to do all this stuff. We got to make it huge. And I think they need to go back to just making.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Like a simple movie. Like, how did it all start? It started with Iron Man 1, and it was just an origin story. Well, you've got characters now that you can pivot to. You got the whole X-Men. You got the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You got these characters that you can introduce. I think the problem is even with like the Eternals and stuff like that was like, we need to set up like all these other characters, this massive conflict, like who's the next Thanos? And I'm like, you didn't have to. You can just give us an original like origin movie of these characters and kind of build out the universe again. But I felt like they were like, everything was so connected and so big that they're like, we got to keep it big, pull in Doctor Strange in here and pull in. And I'm like, that's where I think we're not going to care about these characters if there's 30 characters in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes it hard for character development.
It worked before because they all had their own individual moments and special, stories. But what do you think, Josh? Do you think that it's a smart move? Do you think it's kind of like a fallback situation, or I don't know.
I feel like it's 100% just like, hey, let's rerun those greatest hits, baby.
We know
it
worked once.
Remember these guys you loved? They're back.
Disney
That's
does
totally
that a
what it
lot.
is. And there's a way to do it, I guess, if it makes sense for the story, because like you're opening up the whole like Secret Wars stuff, and
which they say Spider-Man's going to be the lead of that.
And that I do not believe that. I think that's one of those dumb rumors. They said Deadpool, right? Or no, they said Wolverine and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
I heard that. I saw that.
That's 100% like one of those like
they have an agreement.
MCU India pages that on Facebook that puts up
hey,
like
you never
this
know.
is what I'm seeing.
You never know.
So I think that's I think that's bullcrap. But
Deadpool, I don't think can be a lead of a.
I think it was Wolverine.
Oh,
is
it's a
what they said.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hugh Jackman's
But
Wolverine.
it has to be linked to the Deadpool movie, right?
Right.
Yes.
So that's interesting, but yeah.
But I don't think
Hugh Jackman would be.
I think there's a way to bring back those characters,
Huge
but it seems like they were just trying to let's resurrect them somehow.
Let's pull them in from another universe. Yeah.
And I mean, I think a lot of the stuff in this article like was already kind of known a little bit, but you just like put it all in one big thing of like let's talk about the VFX issues, let's talk about the delays, let's talk about the reshoots and stuff that have been happening with all these movies, which is kind of interesting. But I think it's it'll be interesting to see. They haven't, even the characters that have kind of survived, like
Hulk.
Like Hulk,
dude,
a joke.
Yeah.
Thor is a joke.
Yes. Again, that's why I'm saying it's the quality of movies. They ran Thor into the ground.
Right.
Like, no one liked Thor Love and Thunder because they just thought it was like they ruined the character.
It was mixed.
And they're announcing like, oh, Thor 5's coming out, but we're going to go back to... I just feel like they dropped the ball with the storytelling. Again, I was never a big Marvel fan to begin with.
So you have an agenda.
No, but I feel like the early Marvel stuff was good, and then it became very repetitive. And what ended up happening with after Endgame and they fulfilled that Thanos arc, then it was kind of like, well, let's just kind of, they fell in more into let's just make the movies we've already been doing generic, and there was nothing special about them. And once you've done, however it is, 30 movies that then begin to feel stale and repetitive, then you lose audiences. And stuff that came out in that article too is how they're scared of the fact that the Marvels movie that comes out this week is going to be a bomb, that no one wants to go watch it.
And the pre-sale tickets are like the lowest for any Marvel movie. Or
lower than Black Adam and lower than The Flash. Is what I just read today.
Wow. Yikes.
The pre-sales.
Jeez.
So it's tracking lower than those two.
It just doesn't look, even the trailers don't even look interesting.
There's
no aspect of it that looks interesting.
You can tell they're a little desperate.
It's just fighting.
Because they just did a little teaser thing and they're like, see what comes next. And then the
Everything
words leaves
out.
except the X stays in there. And I don't know if people care about spoilers.
Don't spoil it. Just
I won't spoil,
Just
but
say a character.
there was
supposedly.
apparently one of the things that came out was the end credit scene in the Marvels. They just changed it last second, and they brought in a character from some universe.
Okay.
And they're already dropping that this character shows up, and it's just a cheap way of bringing people to the movies to be like,
Watch
yeah,
this
the movie
30-second
sucks,
spot.
but 15 seconds you're going to see a character that's going to show up, and that's going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
People, I think, are getting tired of that kind of thing. So I hope it doesn't work out for them. I hope they don't.
What?
Because if you keep doing that,
Well, it's not going to.
it lowers the quality of the movies. If they keep getting away with it, like this movie stinks, but hey, we're going to throw in 30 seconds that we'll film that we didn't even put any thought to it. We're just like, they want to see this character.
Jonah, what if the Marvel's post-credit scene is Zack Snyder's Justice League?
If Zack
Would you like that? Would you like that?
Answer it.
Answer the question.
no, because that's impossible.
Answer it.
You never.
No,
it's
no,
a possibility.
it's
They're like,
Be
oh my
honest.
It's
gosh,
possible.
Be honest.
Possible.
the strands from the multiverse
Just be
are
honest.
colliding.
Just be
No.
honest.
I wouldn't want
And
it to be
and
connected.
Batfleck goes,
Even if you
I wouldn't
saw
want it to be
those
connected
frames,
to the
I'm
Marvels.
thinking I'm bet.
just start doing them all.
But it's just kind of interesting that all this kind of stuff just seems like, again, Marvel
Well,
trying to
gods
fix
can
something.
bleed.
The other thing that's
How
interesting
far
is
are they fallen?
Let's go, baby.
Now's our moment. He's weak. Destroy him.
the other thing that's
And then you
interesting.
got this weirdo with glasses and white hair, and he's like, "Yeah,
again.
here's my plan all along."
gosh. There's stuff that about DC that we are going to get into.
There
that-
always is.
but
When is it
there's
clown
a
show?
Clownville.
there in the article they mentioned that the director for the Marvels left the movie and wasn't involved with any of the post production of the movie because she went off to do another movie, and so they're like, that's kind of unheard of to be like, all right, I filmed it. You guys handle it.
But it
See
makes
ya.
sense the way that we hear
The
how
way
they
Marvel
make it.
does it by assembly line, basically filmmaking, which gives credence to what people like Martin Scorsese and stuff like that say, where they're like, this isn't filmmaking. This is just an assembly line movie making.
Product development.
But it's interesting. Are you guys gonna go watch the Marvels? I'm not planning on.
We
to.
have to.
No. Probably not.
You're obligated to.
I
Am
kind of want to watch
you
it.
are. You are.
It's in our contract.
I want to
We
know.
already kicked Mick off because he didn't go watch it. That's why he's not here.
Yeah.
He didn't fulfill his
Guys,
obligation.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I forgot. I do not want to be next
That's
one.
right. It's
asked.
just going to be me here.
Jonah, when you say
Welcome to the Nerd Age. Hi, I'm your host.
me
And I'll be talking
with
to my Lego
myself.
sets.
Yeah. You just start showing your Lego
Yeah.
sets. That'd be sick. Yeah, I mean, you piqued my interest with the end credit. So I'm gonna buy a ticket and I'm gonna show up at the end. And I'll be like, "Oh, wait, is it over yet?"
And then
Okay.
you're going to be like, I missed the movie. Can I get a refund?
I'm gonna get a ticket for a different movie that's at the after that
you go.
one, and so I'll just come in early. Yeah, and I'll just come in.
The scene is gonna leak. Everyone. It's like save your money.
I don't know.
15
Can it
seconds.
leak if no one watches it?
Hey, guess what, guys? I'm gonna watch it for you guys.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
I mean,
And let us
I'd
know.
be willing to watch it just to see.
I'm committed.
I am interested in it just because I want to see how bad it is, or if it actually truly is bad.
Yeah.
So it's more of like kind of a sick, kind of messed up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like wanting to see like a car wreck. Like
like
people like
flogging
watch
yourself.
it. It's kind of messed up. Yeah, it's like yeah. What other? Is there any other MC?
Yeah. So there was other information about Blade. So
that still exists.
people got
That's my phone. Don't worry about it, guys.
people got really mad because they said that they're going. What I think it was is that they're going back to the drawing board on it because what ended up happening was, how do you pronounce his name? Mahershala Ali, who was the Blade, the main character, and he announced years ago that he was Blade, and people were super excited. Well, apparently they wrote a script, and then he ended up being relegated to a fourth character
Whoa.
in his own movie.
Whoa.
And they're like, it wasn't even a Blade movie. And they put these other characters in there. And
Was it a Dark Knight movie? Or a Dark Black Knight? Was it a Black Knight movie or something?
No, it's like it's Blade, he's like the vampire hunter.
Yeah, but
guy.
I'm saying like who else would have been the main
Well,
character?
they just said that they put in 3 other characters that basically relegated him to a fourth tier
How
character.
weird.
And
Okay.
so that movie's now being completely rehauled because they're like, yeah, this was
They
not.
said he was close to leaving, and then they brought on Michael Green is the guy that did Logan.
Okay, yeah.
So he's doing apparently the new script for that one.
Wow.
So just stuff like that. The other stuff they talked about was just the crazy amount of money they've been spending on the shows. She-Hulk, which I think is probably one of the worst MCU shows. Guess how much it cost to make that, the budget of that show.
Trying to remember what it was. Was it 200 million?
250 for that.
That's crazy.
That's
Wait, for the whole
insane.
series or for
For the whole series.
Okay.
25 million per episode is they're saying like but
it's pure CGI.
insane
There's so much CGI.
though. But still,
It makes sense.
and the CGI wasn't that good.
Some of it was okay, but
So it's just that kind of stuff. I saw one person complain. They're like, "Who's running Disney?" They're like, "250 for She-Hulk, 90 million for the Obi-Wan series." It's like you could have flipped
swap
them.
that. Swap.
But it's just that kind of stuff that keeps coming out. And like you said, there's people online that are saying this isn't true. The other big thing was Jonathan Majors with all his
Criminal
legal
activities.
issues, but apparently before his legal stuff happened, his agency had dropped him because they said the way he treated people on set, and so there's been a lot of rumors about that he's not a very good dude. And
I mean, but that's everyone in Hollywood though.
right, but
Yeah.
his is like apparently his is more like there's bigger issues because he was dropped by his agency and people have come out like other directors. Normally you kind of like whatever, let that stuff go, but there's been like directors that have come out and said, "Oh, it's about time he's getting what's coming to him because he's an awful person."
Wow.
So there's rumors that they're moving away from him as Kang. And one of the big reasons was they thought
the movie's called Kang Dynasty.
this is crazy
Yeah,
though.
bro. Come on.
They said that Marvel
Dr. Doom
executives were
Dynasty.
shocked.
What?
Marvel executives were shocked because they thought that Ant-Man and
gonna
the
do
Wasp
well.
and Quantumania was like going to be a hit, and they loved the movie. And then when they got like critic reviews and audience being like, "This movie sucks," they were like, "What happened?" And I was like, if you thought that
Yeah,
Ant-Man was
that's,
going to be good, you don't have your finger on the pulse.
It's because they're not real like fans.
That's when they've been drinking the Kool-Aid.
yeah,
yeah.
they're like, "There's
They're
another,
like, we're so great."
another one."
It's just a bunch of yes men and
Yeah.
yes people.
Another
you know?
$1 billion movie.
But that's crazy to me because I think you've mentioned this before. They kind of cut the legs out from the menacing aspect of who Kang was by having him be an Ant-Man and getting
Yeah.
destroyed by Ant-Man.
Yeah,
it was just
by
kind of like,
ants.
really, this guy's going to be the big bad? So I don't know what they're
Yeah.
going to do. We'll talk about Loki later. There's stuff that happens, but there's kind of pushback of that, saying that no, they're still moving forward with Jonathan Majors.
I don't see how they don't. You know what I mean? They have they're locked in at this point.
I mean, they're deep.
There's no
in.
way they can pivot.
I mean, if Doctor Doom shows up and just kills Kang, and then you're like, yeah, Kang.
Whoa! At the end of Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, because he's riding an ant, and it's his weakness.
Yeah,
You know, Zack Snyder's the blueprint. They'll have
boy.
they'll have Kang's head be cut off, and then it'll roll, and then Doctor Doom will step on it and squish it, and then just like Darkseid did, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's the new bad guy."
We all know how that went.
That's on WB, bro.
It didn't.
That would have been sick.
Yeah, you're right. That
was a great scene,
I
but-
think that would be the end of the MCU.
Nice one.
We'd reboot it, and James Gunn would take over.
Oh man,
Oh man.
was
Stuck
there
with
any
this
more
guy?
in the Marvel stuff that you can think of?
I think that was pretty much it. I mean, they talked about the VFX stuff, same thing,
Yeah.
which we've already talked about a bunch. But yeah, apparently on the She-Hulk show, one of the reasons they were so pressed for time is because they were like moved a bunch of the scenes where she transformed. Like it was supposed to happen like in the 8th episode or 6th episode or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, we did test screenings and we need to move it up." So then like the VFX people had to like scramble to get
sucks.
which yeah. So the complaint in the article was like, it's not the VFX people's fault. It's the fact that these scripts are so like half baked that they keep just being.
And I'm gonna be honest, we all know that. We're not blaming you VFX guys out there. I feel bad for you guys. Dang.
That was the thing that was interesting too. They said about the Marvels. They said that Disney normally doesn't do like test screenings for fans. They do it for like people in studio, like family members, that kind of stuff, to keep it quiet. But with the Marvels, they were like, we got to test this with audiences, and they're like, and it got just absolutely destroyed.
Wow.
So I think they're kind of gun shy. Oh no, we got another bomb on our hands.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So where do you guys think? Do you guys think they're going to go full into this run it back kind of strategy, or what do you guys think it's going to play out like? Realistically,
I think when
do you think you're going to see Iron Man and King Dynasty?
Yes. I think Secret Wars and that kind of stuff they're going to do. They're going to bring them all back because it's going to be like, hey, look at all these characters.
Well, there's no reason you can't do Secret Wars like that, because it actually does work. Because you can have, I have Iron Man. Oh yeah, I'm Iron Man. You know.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, what they've set up with this whole Loki situation, multiverse, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When it's not really fleshed out as like, or explained, you can do anything and just say, yeah, he shows up. He's from this universe, but yeah, it's the same guy. Or this
we got him from an earlier time.
There was
before he died.
And so they can do whatever they want, and people will cheer. And it doesn't matter if there's a loophole or anything or plot hole. It's just going to be like, Tony Stark's back. Robert Downey Jr., baby.
You think so? I don't know, man. I think that. I mean,
for the simpletons out there.
I'd like to think that I don't think it'd be accepted as much, but
it says the guy that wants Han Solo to show up in every Star Wars show.
No,
it's the same
duality.
thing.
No.
Han Solo just flew over top. Let's go. 10 out of 10.
It's completely different.
No, it's not.
Yes,
it's
is
the same.
It is. No, because Harrison Ford's Han Solo has not been used to a point where it's cheapened. How many movies has Han Solo been in?
1,000.
Iron Man hasn't been used in a cheapened state.
Well, I'm saying like at this point he is. He's been used so much. He's like, I'm saying if they bring him back,
if
that's what I'm saying. He's like, it's not like Harrison. It's you bring back Harrison Ford. That's a huge deal because we haven't had.
It's not.
Yes,
we just saw it in freaking Dial of Destiny.
No, but
how much did you love that movie?
It's different if it's Han Solo.
Okay,
if you have Han Solo show up with Mark
Harrison Ford,
that's but we're talking about Han Solo.
Okay,
and so if you have Harrison Ford show up with Mark Hamill,
this is
as Luke and Han, that's a big deal because that hasn't happened.
My point is there are people out there that have grown up watching Iron Man just like you grew up watching Star Wars, and if they see Iron Man come back, they're gonna lose their. You know what?
Ish.
Yeah, but it's different.
I will say Han Solo hasn't died on camera. Well, yeah, he has actually. Yeah, he has. So it's like if you did something that was back in time,
bring him
that's
back.
fine. But if you bring him back after he's dead, no, that doesn't work. That
he did in Rise of Skywalker. We saw him after he died. Is that not bringing him back? And that's your favorite scene.
In the Force. It was more of a memory. It was a memory, probably.
This guy knows it's not true, and yet he's just arguing it.
No, I'm not.
I think
the Han Solo scene in Rise of Skywalker is not
good.
him coming back. It's through Kylo Ren having that moment. It's not what they do with Iron Man and Scarlett Johansson, where they come back and they're big parts of this movie, and they're like through time we brought them back from the dead, and they have a role to play. The scene in Rise of Skywalker is completely different to what they're trying to do in Marvel.
Now if they went through like the what's it called, the
World Between Worlds,
and then they grabbed Han Solo, and then he's alive again. That would be the same thing.
I'm saying it'll be different if they bring Robert Downey Jr. back and he's in a bunch of movies. If it's like, oh, you're back, we bring you into this one movie. I honestly think they will do.
But
that.
he's a different Iron Man. He's from a different reality.
However they bring him back, Like,
Well, they're saying they're going to bring back the original.
See, I'm saying I think it only would work if it was like an alternate timeline. But if they bring him back from the dead somehow, that's a problem.
The only way
That's a big
I'm okay
problem.
with this is if it's Robert Downey Jr., but it's his Tropic Thunder character as Iron Man.
Yeah.
Right? That way he's from a different universe, and that would make sense.
he's a dude.
Playing another dude. Yeah.
So
And
that'd
it's,
be another dude.
dude, that'd be sick.
That'd be pretty sick.
No, I'm down for that.
And yeah.
He's got like black
Finally, we agree
and he's
on
got like
something.
black and gold armor instead of red.
Yeah,
Dude,
that'd
that'd
be
be
sick.
dope. It's like the Green Ranger coming back, and then he's the White
White
Ranger.
Ranger.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Except
What do you
the
mean,
Black
you
Ranger?
people? Yeah, exactly.
Maybe black armor would be cool. Is that it for MCU? Is that pretty much it? I mean, I don't know if you guys ever saw the Joe Rogan interview with Robert Downey Jr., but Joe Rogan actually asked him, like, yeah, I think you should come back. You should, put on the jersey again. You're like, don't you think? And Robert Downey Jr. is like, don't you think people would just be kind of like let down, And Joe Rogan's like, nah, man. They figure out how to fire up that time traveling machine again, and they bring him back. They need a super genius.
They're going to do it. It's 100% going to happen.
I think that the minds that we're trying to entertain, they kind of put a blind eye to it. They don't care. I like Iron Man. It's good.
Yeah.
There's
And
people
then
out there that
they sell tickets.
It's just nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Iron Man was my favorite
Yeah.
superhero, and he's back now. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's
It's like
these-
Han Solo is my favorite
It's-
Star
it's-
Wars character,
get outta here.
and I get to see him again, just like that.
Not the same
I'm not
thing.
saying it's the same situation. It creates the same feeling in your heart.
I would say a better comparison is bringing Anakin back as a Force ghost and actively training Ahsoka again and leading her in an actual story. It's very similar to that because you're almost resurrecting him.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of like a,
no, I don't
gray
think so.
area
I don't
because
think
the
so.
Force ghost enables
Of course
it.
you don't think
No,
so.
because
But dude, in a world where there's time travel, there's magic stones that make wishes come true.
Right.
And there's alternate realities.
Yeah.
Who's to say that that's not even like
But
a believable thing? I think it is.
The problem with Marvel is it's so convoluted now because what they've done with
but
Loki,
it's possible.
What they've done with Loki is they set up a person that controlled all the outcomes. There was no free will. Then they gave free will. It's just the difference with Star Wars is the World Between Worlds and Anakin. It's not just. I mean, we're still seeing how they're explaining it, but to this point, it's the only person that. The reason Anakin's able to be in that situation is because he has transcended the aspect of that. He's the more
Qui-Gon Jinn came back in,
no, what I'm saying, like in the World Between Worlds and stuff like that.
Oh.
The reason he can do that kind of stuff is they're teasing that he's something more because he's the chosen one. Force Ghost is different than someone that can manipulate stuff in the World Between Worlds. And I think what they're setting up is Anakin has, because he is the chosen one, he brings balance to the Force. The whole aspect of the Mortis gods and the Father. He has transcended that and become that.
Let me just bring this one thing up, okay? Okay, I'm with you. I understand what you're saying, and I agree. There is a special case there. But isn't it kind of the same feeling where it's like Iron Man does a just as a story beat, right? He does a self-sacrifice. I'm going to sacrifice my life for humanity and existence.
But he
right?
didn't.
Well,
Because
he did.
It was the
So he did. No,
He who
that's fine.
remains
But on
that
screen, he
did
did
it.
it, right? He
Right.
sacrificed his life and he did the thing, right? Anakin also did the thing, right? Where he sacrificed his life to save, right? So are we there? Like both things are kind of cheapening that effect of like, well, you're bringing him back, but if Anakin was brought back all the way to life, that would cheapen it, wouldn't it? And I think that's going to be the same thing with Iron Man. If you bring him back to life, it's going to cheapen him too.
Yeah.
Like cheapening the decision that he made, the sacrifice he made.
Yeah, but I think it's the different aspect is Anakin's not being brought back to life. If they brought him back to life,
it would be the same. But it's not the same as what I'm trying to say.
But yeah, the difference there is like if you're bringing back the same character, and like I said, the thing is they've convoluted it and made it weird now, where they kind of robbed those characters of choice by saying like he who remains ordained that it was going that way, like he controlled everything. And now
he knew what was happening and he controlled it through affecting things. Like he can manipulate it. He wasn't controlling every little thing, but he knew what was going to happen. And so he directed traffic as it may.
Kind of, but there's the aspect of the outcome was always going to be that
Predetermined
way.
outcome up until this now position in the timeline.
Anything that was going against that was
it's not like that now though. It's not like that now.
Right. But what I'm saying is like you robbed the characters from that. Even Doctor Strange being like, I've looked at all the,
You're now understanding why time travel's a joke to me. And that's why I don't like it. Yeah. It cheapens it. And I
don't know if necessarily the time travel aspect, it's having someone
predetermined destiny. Like
having someone be the one that's like, I'm at the end of time and I've controlled everything. Like to this point, I made you make those choices.
You know what bugs me the most is when someone has a pre-written script, and the end of the movie is, planned out and, no, I'm just joking. But yeah, I don't know. Josh, what do you think, man? I don't know. I think it's inevitable, right? It's just inevitable. And you just kind of
bringing to Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
back?
I mean,
yeah, it's 100% inevitable.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to hold that against people because I loved it when, like you said, when Anakin came back.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. They're explaining things, but they haven't explained everything in the world between worlds.
I will say, if any universe has more ways of explaining things logically, well, sorry, not logically, but they have excuses, they have reasons, and they have mechanics in this story and universe to enable it.
I guess the reason for me it's different is how long has it been since Anakin and the prequels?
20 years.
Well, I mean, when are you going to count?
Yeah.
When, like the 70s?
The Revenge of the Sith.
2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's been when Hayden showed up, and especially because there was such an outcry against him, about a bunch of fans that complained about Hayden Christensen's acting, and the whole aspect of a lot of time passed. How many years have passed since Robert Downey Jr. has been in a movie? That's where it feels
it's been
like
a long time, actually. Well, since the
it
last
hasn't
movie.
been 20 years.
And
so I think there's a difference to me with that.
For you, though, I guarantee you ask our nephews, Ethan and Jason, would you be excited for Iron Man to come back in a movie? And they'd be like, yeah,
Poggers.
I love Iron Man.
Poggers.
I cried when he died.
I don't think it's going to be the same as even them.
Ask your friends at church. Go on. Ask them.
I'll ask
Put
them.
it in the comments.
Hey, friends at church, would you be excited? I think, yes, there are some that would be super excited, but I think
it's the majority.
But I also think it's not the same as waiting 20 years to see a character come back.
Not.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. We're on TikTok time, baby.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's a difference.
Shortened.
I'm saying there's a difference in the weight of it. The more time passes, the bigger it is.
Yeah, I'll also say that
by the time it happens, it's going to be like 7 years from now. So
no, they'll shoehorn him in a 30-second thing.
Nah, dude, Secret Wars is like 20,
he's
27.
Like, hey, Jarvis, I'm back. I am Iron Man, and it's going bam, bam, and the people are like, oh, that's what Marvel does.
I forgot. What I was
Cheap
gonna say.
thrills.
I was trying to talk.
I was gonna never mind.
Do it. Well, don't forget it. I just forgot.
No,
mine.
you're good.
Oh, okay.
We're good. Things are getting.
I was going to say. No. What I was going to say is, the nice thing, well, the kind of convenient thing for Marvel is that they've released really bad stinkers. And so the bar is so low that the moment they put Iron Man up there, they're like, Marvel's back, baby. Yeah, it's so good. Dude, that's what's going to happen, dude. Mark my words.
Oh,
of
100%.
Of course. But that's always been,
dude, Marvel.
I
understand.
It's
dude.
like they've been given a pass on bad movies because they're funny. That's always been my complaint.
Well, guys, consensus is Marvel is lazy.
What is
else?
your
bad?
You that hate time travel? Here,
Ugh.
I asked this about Josh.
Get me out of here.
So apparently, the other big rumor is that the Deadpool 3 movie is going to be the TVA recruiting Deadpool and Wolverine to help them do stuff. Here's my question. Here's my question to you.
Okay, let's go.
We've gotten
Wolverine's done time travel, by the way.
Right, Days of Future Past and all that stuff. But
they animated.
We have gotten the numbers for Loki, and season 2. A lot of people aren't watching. Like, there's been a big drop. I don't think a lot of people are watching the shows. They introduced the TVA through the Loki series. How do you then introduce the TVA into like a Deadpool movie and be like, hey, for those of you who haven't been watching the shows, this is the TVA. Loki's this big thing, like this whole aspect of things. Does that not seem weird to be like, we're just going to throw this into this movie? And I talked to Josh. I was like, Deadpool could basically look at the camera and explain what the TVA is and kind of do it like break the fourth wall and be like, oh, there's 2 seasons of Loki and that kind of stuff. But I'm like, how do you do that and make it seem like interesting enough for people that haven't been watching the shows?
Yeah, I think you how did they introduce the TVA in Loki? They had some situation where something went astray on the timeline, and then they had to go fix it.
But you had a whole season of explaining what that was.
Yeah, you can
expedite
expedite
in a movie.
it.
You have 2 hours.
You can expedite it. You're right.
But now
though.
you have to explain everything that Loki's been through. Does that make sense a little bit? Because the TVA is different.
Do you
now.
have to fully explain it though? I don't think so. I think you can kind of like. I think you can kind of lead people into things like, oh yeah, okay, timeline. Okay, they're like police cops or time cops. Okay, got it.
Yeah, but do you touch any of Kang was in charge of this and then Loki came in?
Is it affecting their story? If it's not, then you don't really have to, but maybe you do have to address it at the end or something like that.
It just seems like a lot to be like, if that's like,
what's this from? This is from
a leak.
A leak of some sort.
Saying that's what.
I could see it happening. Just because the TVA and all this stuff seems very like closed off in its own little corner where it's like, the most influential and most like potentially like universe affecting thing in the whole story. And it's like, it has to come out more.
Yeah.
It has to leak out so people understand what it is. So it's going to happen for sure. But I'm not sure how they do it. But yeah, I think they have some kind of time mishap and they're like, oh, we got to fix it. And then they pop out of nowhere and they're like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, yo, dog, police cops.
I mean, it's
NYPD.
It's honestly
TVA.
just the same thing as the World Between Worlds in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
How do you explain it to all the people that didn't watch the shows? It's the same thing. They don't. They just are like, this is what happened. They maybe mention some things. Yeah. And then with, like we said, Deadpool, you have the ability to just be like, let me catch you up on what happened, or like a throwaway line, or you just have someone say, oh, we're from the TVA. We're in charge of doing this. And then you're just move on.
Or they'll like explain it. Like they'll be like, let me explain it to you. And they skip it. And he's like, oh, so you're like time cops, or like you'll compare it to another movie or something like that. And they'll be like, oh, okay. And they understand it instantly by these context clues. And that makes sense with this humor, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Probably something like that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's get off of Marvel. Yeah. Because we got to move along.
Let's freshen up.
Yeah. BlizzCon.
Let's talk about BlizzCon, guys. I don't know if you guys are gamers out there. I don't know. I am. You guys used to be.
I am.
You're definitely a gamer. You're
a Nintendo gamer.
We have news about them too. I just remembered it. But yeah, BlizzCon just happened this last weekend. What?
Nothing. I just remember the news.
Yeah. BlizzCon hasn't happened in person for 4 years because of COVID and stuff like that. And also a lot of their craziness that happened internally.
Because they didn't want people. Anyway, no.
Yeah, they had some spicy allegations. They'd like drink at work and stuff. Anyway, there's a lot of crazy stuff.
They were sold now. So
BlizzCon happened. Yeah, they got bought out by Microsoft. Like they're any better. I don't know. I think they're better. People actually cheered when I think his name is Phil Spencer, the Xbox lead, CEO or whatever. They actually clapped and cheered for him when he got called to the front stage, so the main stage. But yeah, they had some really cool announcements. They announced, we knew Chris Metzen was coming back. He had previously retired. He is the master, the creator of the Warcraft storyline. And he had retired maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. I think 5 years ago. And he came back and it was so cool seeing him again. Man, this guy could sell me anything. He's so passionate. He's so epic and he's just awesome.
And his drawings are sick.
Yeah. But he was talking about World of Warcraft and they're doing instead of here's the next expansion, they actually announced a saga. They said, hey, we're going to round out this story with a saga. And so it's called I think it's the World Soul Saga. And he said, I'm going to be honest with you. This is just the outline of the story, but I'm going to share a couple spoilers. And he kind of went through what's going to happen. And so he introduced the next 3 expansions, which unheard of. They're kind of redoing their recipe on how to do this, their formula. And so they're talking about, the Azeroth and its heart inside it, and there's going to be a war over its heart and protecting it and some crazy stuff. So they announced a retail WoW. That's what everyone calls it, retail WoW. So the more modern WoW. And that was interesting. But then they had some really crazy announcement about the classic version of WoW, which, it's this interesting phenomenon where people really have a strong nostalgia and they know what they like. And
are they bringing back something that's been dead? Is that what they're doing?
Is Iron Man showing up in? Hey, Fortnite's doing it too.
They're going back.
No, it's like if they just released Iron Man 1 again and they're like, hey, we're going to add some story beats and some raid bosses. So they're doing that basically with
Didn't
classic.
they just did that though?
So they released classic WoW again. So you can play it in its, we call it in its vanilla state. And they've been re-releasing their expansion in their classic states.
So now they're adding.
They're still doing that again, by the way. They have, in total, at the end of probably next year, they'll have 4 different versions of World of Warcraft playable. They'll have Warcraft Classic, which is the original 1 to 60 experience, right? And then they're going to have Cataclysm, which is the next expansion after Arthas gets slain and defeated after Ice Crown Citadel. And then they're going to have Warcraft Classic Hardcore, that you can't die. If you die, you're dead forever. And so people really like that. There was a $100,000 tournament on that server. Crazy. One of my friends got top 64 in the world.
Nice.
Congrats. Pretty sick.
Top 64.
Ian,
what's his name? Ian,
my dog.
Shout out to Ian, my dog.
He's down in Arizona. He's my boy. I've known him for years, man. He's the homie. I was watching him, and this stream has 200,000 viewers on Twitch. And they're having these little tournament duels.
Did you shed a tear when he died?
No, I typed in chat. I was like, "Die honorable." I think his character's name is Gukar. He's an orc warrior, and it was great, dude. It's just so cool to see the community get behind it and having people support this old school version of WoW. But anyway, the newest thing that they announced was they're going to do classic and they're going to set it up so that it's very accessible by people for people to play. It's not going to be so crazy, but they're going to introduce new abilities. They're going to introduce new raids, new content, and that's what people want. Yeah. It's weird because it's like in the original Star Wars. You just like the cadence, you like the story, you like how it looks, and you like how it's simpler times, and I think people appreciate that.
Here's my thing. You're getting all this love for all the original WoWs. How about giving me some love? How about announcing a Warcraft 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, go back to the original. Come on.
Well, you didn't hear. You didn't hear the Warcraft 4 announcement?
I'm just joking. Breaking news?
Guys, I'm going to be honest.
Okay, I would have heard
Here's the thing. RTS is real-time strategies. That's like StarCraft, right? And Warcraft. Unfortunately,
Civilization.
That game type, it just does not. It's too hard is the reality of it. It's a hard game type. It's only popular in Korea and just Eastern countries.
Give us what we want. Yeah. Give us Koreans what we want.
Here's the thing. You got Warcraft 4. It's called World of Warcraft.
No,
guess what? You got Warcraft 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
It's not. It's completely different.
What if they did do Warcraft 4 and just took the story that happens and do a campaign out of it?
They totally could.
See, I'd love that.
I think they should.
That would be sweet.
But I think it's also a net loss. But anyway.
Even if it's just a mobile game.
It wouldn't sell.
How about if it was a mobile game?
I would.
No.
Warcraft 4.
No, we're talking.
Now you got money. I'm glad you brought up mobile games. So Blizzard's been making mobile games. They made Diablo Immortal, which people weren't too happy about. But guess what?
It was amazing.
It makes money. It looks good. But they just made a. It's called Warcraft Rumble. Check it out. You're a mobile gamer yourself, I know. It is a not Clash of Clans. It's like Clash of Clans, but you put
Boom Beach.
No, but you feed your unit and he goes and runs and fights the other guys. It's a PvP 1v1.
And then you can get more people.
Yeah, they're doing that for Warcraft. So you can have Jaina, you can have Thrall, and you have different factions and stuff.
Indeed.
I'm in.
Join the Chamber Guild. They'll just send a request and we'll add you to the guild. That's the one. The Chamber, that's what it's called. And it's run by my boy Ian. He's the guild master.
Ian, my boy, we're gonna be homies.
He's cool dude, man. I think you'd like him. He's a cool dude. But yeah, so they announced that mobile game, which people have been playing. I think they generally like it. It's kind of just a copy of other games, but and then they announced Diablo 4's first expansion, and that is going to be pretty interesting. I think they've got some really cool quality of life changes. The biggest thing they announced was they're going to have a brand new class that they've never made before in any of the Diablo games. Like they had the Amazon, they've had all these different ones in the past, but apparently it's a brand new one.
Sniper.
I'm assuming just like it's a ghost, from StarCraft 2.
That would be super.
I don't know what it is, but yeah. So they had a really.
It's gonna be a Zerg, dude, or something like that.
The Hydralist.
It's like Heroes of the Storm, where they just have all the different characters. So Diablo 4 had that announcement of the new expansion and the new season and stuff like that. So I think Diablo 4 is looking good. I think if you're a fan of that type of game, I think they've done really good things to it. And kind of on Diablo 3's track record, after they released like season 20, whatever, they did really good by the fans. And I think they made a lot of good content. And so I think Diablo 4 is going to follow that same suit where if you're a big fan and you really enjoy that type of game, you're going to be rewarded. And then I think they had some Overwatch stuff where they announced new characters. That was cool. They got this cool Hawaiian guy, or not Hawaiian. Well, yeah, I mean,
Hawaiian guy.
What's
Derek Irna.
Yes. What are they called?
Samoan.
A Samoan guy. He's pretty sick. He's a tank with 2 Gatling guns.
He's a tank?
Yeah, bro. That's the position in the game. Oh my gosh.
I mean, he had like tank legs. I thought,
Right.
hey, wait, you said he was Samoan. Now he's a tank.
Legs.
He's a Samoan tank, bro.
Since tank have legs,
Oh my gosh.
all the tanks I look at.
Okay. I need to reframe my mind.
Hey, I told you, I'm a Nintendo gamer,
Yeah, okay.
bro.
Got it.
Do they eat any fruits that turn them into elephants?
Okay, so Blizzard was pretty cool. Honestly, the craziest thing was the World of Warcraft announcement. They always save the biggest things for last, and that was the last one.
That cinematic was sick.
I think I would pose the question to Blizzard and you guys, when's WoW 2? Because the graphics are, they've improved them, but you can only get so good. I think most people, if they released a World of Warcraft 2, like an Unreal Engine 5 version or something crazy, I think it would be a real hit. But I understand at the same time that they don't want to, throw away all this work that they've worked on for the past 20 years or whatever. So it's tough, but it'd be kind of cool, right, to see those characters in really nice graphics, but they didn't, unfortunately. So we'll see how it goes. But it was really cool seeing Chris Metzen though. That guy's the best. But yeah, that was basically BlizzCon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Waiting for that Warcraft 4 announcement. Maybe next BlizzCon.
I mean, they didn't even talk about Star Wars. They didn't talk about Star Wars. StarCraft. They didn't even talk about StarCraft or Heroes of the Storm. They talked about Hearthstone, but it's like, another expansion, but whatever. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Kind of wish I went to one before
Where is it
COVID.
at?
Anaheim, California. But yeah, pretty sweet. I think you guys would be surprised at the viewership that World of Warcraft pulls in some of these events, like these tournaments and stuff like that. It is pretty amazing. The guy who won first place got $60,000.
Nice.
And then if you were the best, if you were the farthest to go in your class, so let's say a rogue's just not very good or whatever, but if you were the best rogue, the worst,
Best tank.
right, like a warrior, you get $6,000. Can you imagine? That's crazy.
Hey, I'll take it.
But I think the premise is very intriguing. 1 to 60 takes around like 2 to 3. If you're really crazy good gamer and really fast, 2 to 3 weeks of like playing really hardcore.
Yeah.
But imagine only doing that on one life. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, screw that.
Pretty crazy. Anyway.
Yeah, no thanks.
That was BlizzCon.
Nice. The info the news you're talking about Nintendo was they just crushing people, yo.
Nintendo is cutthroat, man. They don't give a
They don't
crap.
care, bro. They don't care.
I mean, they care. That's the thing. Like,
They care about
they only care about their IP,
protecting the
dude.
IP.
It's nuts, man. So there's been a series of lawsuits / like cease and desist on these little charity tournaments. Just trying to, they raised like a couple $100 for a charity, and they're like, yeah, you can't do that. You got to show us all the history of all your money that went into this, and we need to know everything, blah, blah, blah. And and by the way, you can't do this ever again.
Nice.
For charity.
Yeah.
What is
Serves them
going
right.
on? Anyway.
Make those kids earn
They
their own
like
money.
sued a big
an honest
streamer
way.
because he like was making videos about it. Anyway, it's nuts. Nintendo is brutal.
Hey, you got to treat them all the same. You
Yeah.
can't do preferential
handouts.
treatment. No
Yeah.
handouts here.
It's
no
true.
handouts
Yeah.
on charity.
Then what happens? Then what happens? They start breaking the games and they start
To start
doing
helping
all this
curing
stuff.
kids cancer.
Yeah.
Gosh, who would want that?
Yeah, not Nintendo. I will say I saw a thing about a patent that patent that they did, but it's like a 3DS.
Okay, like a flip up 3DS,
Well,
or is it tablet style?
the what it is it's two screens that are together and you can pull them apart and then play. So 2 players together, and the back of them are touch screens. And so they're like, this could just be Nintendo messing around with
they
some
always
stuff.
do crazy
They always have
patents.
crazy patents, but they're like, but sometimes they're like, is this part of the Switch 2 consoles aspect
I hope not.
of having?
At that
they're like,
point,
it
they
looks
should
like
just
a
make a
3, it
phone.
looks like a 3DS, but they're on top of each other, and then you pull them apart and they detach, and you can play locally on 2 screens. I'm like, I don't know. Is that like a
use them
controller?
together and make an extra big screen?
No,
The
you can
next
put them back
entry into
together and then you're
Nintendo.
playing just one. So
The
it's kind of
Nintendo
interesting.
sandwich.
There you go. Nintendo sub. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting. I'm just curious to see what Nintendo's going to do.
We'll find
with
out
the new.
next year.
Yeah, next year.
It'll be pretty crazy.
I also read something that they actually had. What was it Gamescom, the thing?
Yeah, in Germany.
where they had apparently the
prototypes.
Switch 2 was there for like developers and stuff like that to see it.
At
That
Gamescom,
one of the
people would have
things,
taken pictures at a public place.
but like for not on the show, but like behind the scenes for them to talk to like certain developers and stuff.
I mean,
like
the thing is, yeah, I mean, probably. I mean, there's going to be game studios that already have had it for years. So interesting.
Yeah, it'll
But
be
probably a
interesting
more
to see.
final version at Gamescom. Then that's cool. We'll see. It might be the pyramid. I'm telling you.
The Illuminati. Let's move on to, because we're running out of time here. We've been yapping for a long time.
Yeah, we have plenty of time. Let's just talk all night. Let's just talk for 3 hours.
We wanted to talk about the trailer for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This one was a surprise.
Sell it to
a
me.
surprise to be sure. Hey, I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan. I knew they were making another movie, but I didn't know it was coming out so soon that we get a trailer. The trailer looks awesome. I'm a sucker for Planet of the Apes movies. The newest trilogy they did, I think, is one of the best trilogies ever done. I think it's that good. Andy Serkis is the man. Josh said he's not part of this, so that's a little
he talked to
disappointing. But as a fan of Planet of the Apes, this looks good.
called
I'm
him
a
over
little
the
concerned that Disney's doing it because they bought 20th Century Fox, but I think it looks cool. I'm intrigued by what they're doing, whether that's Caesar's son Cornelius, whether the times advance more, and we're going to get Charlton Heston back, bring him back from the dead. No, it's just kind of cool the stuff they're going to do. So I'm excited for it. Josh, I know you like the Planet of the Apes movies too. What did you think of the trailer?
I'm a sucker for Planet of the Apes movies. No, I think it's one of those movies we just grew up watching the originals a lot, and then the latest trilogy.
Dr. Zayas.
The latest trilogy is just really, really good. I agree. It's one
I
of the
actually
better
agree.
trilogies.
Yeah, the last trilogy was good.
And that's just CGI looks great. I like how they're taking it in a different direction. It looks like there's maybe like different tribes of.
I was gonna say, are they
apes.
really? Are they really taking a different direction?
Yeah, I mean, we've never seen like two separate tribes. You know, everyone's usually one. We're not seeing like, oh, these are the ones that live by the sea, and these are the ones that live.
I mean, it's not
forest.
that different.
We're
though.
seeing a kingdom now. Okay, we've seen
It's the same premise though. It's always the
it's
same
the Planet
premise,
of
but
the
it's just
Apes,
like, all right,
bro.
swap it this way. I swap it this way.
Different.
Did
bro,
they
different.
though? And what timeline? Oh,
And they're
Statue of
bringing it-
Liberty. Oh, bro.
That's such a great. That's like
It's
one
good.
of the
Hey,
best scenes
hey.
of all time.
Hey.
You blew it all up.
That's great.
Classic. Absolute
Great,
classic.
dude. But yeah, we'll see. It looks like they're bringing. We're kind of coming full circle with the humans being kind of wild animals now. So
Unable to talk.
So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of play with that idea of we're almost back at the beginning of the original Planet of the Apes now. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, looks good. Corey,
You don't want to know.
you're not a fan of the Planet of
Well,
the Apes?
I mean, it's like, it's the same. It's the same stuff over and over. I mean, think about how many I've watched. So many. It's got to be over 7. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I will say some better than others. I will say the last trilogy was really good. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
I'm excited for it. I think it looks great, and I can't wait. Do we want to go into just some quick stuff? There's the James Gunn stuff, but we don't need to talk.
No, we've talked enough
What
about
are they
James
talking
Gunn
about?
and
His
DC.
favorite flavor of
No,
gum?
they were just saying that it's not necessarily James Gunn, but it was saying that there's some stuff that came out saying that WB executives would make fake. I'm going to mention this one because
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
because for all the time they're like Snyder fans make fake accounts and do it. Well, it turns out WB was making fake accounts to
Hey,
to push up their products on HBO Max and all this kind of stuff, and so I'm like, yeah, so you guys are the ones doing it. But apparently, there's also rumors that, and this is kind of funny because James Gunn is always replying to like these accounts that have one follower and just joined.
We call that out.
And so apparently they're saying that James Gunn has done that as well, where he creates things and will ads to be like, hey, I'm really excited for what you guys are doing over there. What do you think about this? And he'll answer, be like, thanks for being really excited.
It's called
I
teeing
think
up.
this-
called
and so
teeing
they're
up.
like, that's probably what's happening too. But anyways, they accuse the Snyder fans of doing it, but apparently they were doing it all
And
along.
guess what? Newsflash. Everyone does it.
I have my own
All
as
our-
well. I do it for the Nerd Age podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey,
Great topic, guys.
yeah. I think I did leave us
why do
a
you keep,
5-star
like-
review.
Why do you keep hating on yourself? Why are you just like, Jonah's the worst?
Yeah. You suck.
That's what all those TikTok views are.
That is true. It's just me.
You're just scrolling through random videos.
on my wife's phone.
I like the way I look.
Let's go into Loki.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the season finale is next week. Let's just talk about we missed 2 episodes because we didn't have a show last week. What did you guys think of how they've set up everything? It's kind of basically, to me, it seems like Loki is becoming the He Who Remains.
Right.
He's kind of becoming the guy that's going to be able to manipulate time and do that stuff. And now that I'm jumping ahead to this last episode, but he's now able to transport himself
it's
through
fine.
time. What do you guys think of all the setup? Did you guys like the 2 episodes? Are you guys excited for the finale? How has these last 2 episodes landed for you?
I think I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed the show overall. I think the performances are good. And I'm interested in what they're trying to do. I think I've said it before. It really will depend on how they wrap it up. You know, if they just end it and we're like in the same position where we were at the beginning of the season, then I'm going to be like, well, that's dumb. But yeah, it does seem like they're kind of setting him up to be kind of take over for He Who Remains. I do kind of enjoy that kind of the conversations he had with Sylvie about her being like, well, you can't just walk away. You can't just give everyone free will and walk away. And he's kind of torn more towards the side of being like, well, we need to be able to control things. And she's like, well, you're just doing the same thing that they were doing. You're not giving them free will. Mm-hmm. So I do enjoy kind of the aspect of them kind of struggling through that. And Owen Wilson, that's all I gotta say. I love me some Owen Wilson.
And Obi.
I do like Obi too.
Yeah, I mean
Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
Obi too.
I mean, it's okay. I'm not blown away by this series, and it's only because like
time travel.
Yeah, that's 100% why, dude. That's all they're doing.
I mean, yeah, it's this aspect of like, you know, the snake eating itself in a circle, and it's like that's so, uninspiring, in my opinion. And I just don't feel passionate about the story, and it just that's the biggest reason why I don't like time travel is it kills the passion for me personally.
Well, it's very convenient too.
Yeah, this inevitability, and I mean, I am interested to see how they wrap it up and how they lead into, because everyone's saying, oh, the season finale is going to dictate, you know, where the story's going to go with Kang and everything. So I'll watch it.
So Dr. Doom showing up is what we're hearing.
I know. Dr. Doom showing up at the end of Marvels, at the end of Loki.
Yeah, I agree with you though. I just, yes.
But the performances are good. Yeah, I agree. The characters, like the performances are good. It's just,
Yeah, I don't think there's a bad actor in the show. I thought the scene where they crush everybody, that was kind of crazy.
That was good.
Good scene. And even that whole aspect of it. So I've enjoyed it, I think. But yeah, it comes down to that aspect of where I'm like, how are they going to end this? Because it just feels like everything's been very convenient as far as like, oh, we get to a point where it's like, we're all here now. And then right when when he needs to, he learns how to be able to jump. It's just kind of like, and again, I know you don't need to explain certain things, right? Just because you can't. But when it just is like, oh, well, that's happening for the sake of it happening, it just becomes like, okay, well, like I said, it just becomes
it's like
convenient.
I want to see struggle, and I want to see growth, and then I want to see payoff for that, right? I want a lesson to be learned of, actually, if you do work hard and persevere, you know, things, work out or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I know that sounds really simple, but maybe there is an aspect of that maybe I'm missing. Maybe Josh, you see something?
No, I agree. I think especially at this last episode, he was like, Loki was saying, oh, I didn't want to be alone. Like he was looking for belonging somewhere. So that's why he got everyone together. I wish they would have taken more time on him being alone, because he wasn't alone for very long.
Yeah.
He was like instantly they said, oh, you were drawn to the people that were important to you or whatever.
Right.
But I think I would have liked to see that, drag it out a little bit more, like show him struggle more, like you're saying. And then you can kind of explain that at the end of like, oh, well, you know, he finally got to this point where he could, because he wanted to belong so much with these people, like because he had this attachment to them, he was then able to control instead of just being like,
well, especially
it's been 40 minutes. We got everyone together.
Well, especially because
and now I can do it.
Yeah. Doesn't that feel weird? Yeah.
They haven't developed his relationship with Mobius.
Yeah, not with OB or I guess the other guy. Maybe
but with the other guys, like you've had little conversations with him, but it's never been anything. Or with the 51, was that her name? Agent 51?
I don't remember that number.
But I just feel like it's the same thing. It's like you've had scenes with them, but again, there's not any real.
Not real.
You
connection.
need to have them have like conversations that are deeper in order for me to feel like there's something. Like maybe he has a conversation in passing with her about his mother, and she says something about, oh, I wish I remembered my mother, something like that. Like those kind of things, just something, you know, that
what's your mother? You say Martha? Why did you say that name?
I love that movie, and I love that part, and it's misunderstood. Anyways,
I agree with you,
but I do.
I think it's fun to use against you. It's hilarious.
But I agree. There just seems like yes, you've given us that with Mobius and with Sylvie to some extent because she's Loki too. So
and they made out. So
yeah, but with everyone else, there's not really that moment where you're like, oh yeah, why would he want to be, with them? Why would he have an attachment? So again, maybe that's a nitpick because you can't show all that. But I just feel like in a series with what is it, 6 episodes? 8 episodes?
I think it's 6.
6.
You've got time, and there's like 50 minutes. I'm like, you've had time to kind of do so just a little bit.
And
I think so.
They've done plenty of scenes where it's like for example, one scene that I was like, what was the point of this? On the prior episode was the hot cocoa one, where he's like,
yes.
what machine is this?
Yeah, what was the point of it?
Cocoa. And then he's like, goes and makes him a little hot cocoa, and then he's like, like, okay, cut that scene out.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. Just have them grab him some other way, and then give us another scene where, like you said, there's more character development between the main characters that I can then buy. That Loki's has this attachment that's so important that it's drawing him through time to them.
I think it suffers from a lot of simplistic, like, we need to get to this plot point. We need to get to this next step. And so like these scenes are kind of, they're not like multi-use scenes. Like in some of those Ahsoka scenes, we talk about, the writing in that, but like they achieved so many things in like, 1 minute of, dialogue, before fighting or whatever, or traveling from point A to point B. And they accomplished like 3 different things. They grow some character like relationships. They also progress the story, and then they also put a little teaser for what's to come.
Yeah.
Like they're very good at, like they were good in that scene, in that series, writing with a lot of depth and intent. I think this one's a lot of kind of short, like, I mean, there is some foreshadowing and stuff like that, but I'd like to see a little bit more deep relationship building because you're right. 40, 50 minutes per episodes. That's like the equivalent of like a 12 episode, like regular show.
Yeah.
I think they can achieve more. And I wish there was a little bit more out of the story.
Well, and I know they'll probably explain it in this last episode, but I thought it was a little like weird. Loki shows up, right? And he prunes himself. Right?
Right.
And then he says, like, to Sylvie, like, I'll explain to you later, right? So you assume that's the guy that knows everything, right? Because he's like, hey, trust me, he just pruned himself. But then that's the guy that we get that doesn't know what's going on. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So it just makes it weird to me to be like, he goes in and says, okay, obviously this is the one that's going back in time. Mm-hmm. And he prunes himself, and then that's the one that we get with Sylvie then being like, what's going on? I don't know what's happening. So it just makes, again, time travel and the whole issues that's causing. It was like, was that just done to be like, hey, let's just throw that in there to be like,
what's the mystery?
There's another guy, there's another Loki, and then we'll show them him being bewildered, and then he's going to show up at the end and go back in time. To me, it doesn't fit. It'll probably be explained, and I'll probably watch this last episode and be like, well, I'm an idiot.
Yep.
But that to me,
I hope so,
makes me be kind of like,
no,
makes me
for the
just
sake of the story,
makes me just kind of question and be like, oh, is that not necessary? Again, talking about unnecessary scenes, I felt like that last episode, he's like, not this again, and he's time slipping again, and I'm like, this scenes felt really similar where he's like, now he's got to find the same people he did from the first episode and be like, we've had this conversation before. I just felt like that kind of stuff felt repetitive and like I already understand what's happening. It just seems a little unnecessary.
Okay, I think that's fair. I think it is. But yeah, I think man, I always think about when we're talking about this, and we have a lot of gripes and little nitpicks and stuff, but I always question, is it because I'm used to like a certain quality of like character building? Because I watch a lot of anime, and that's like one of the biggest reasons why I like anime is because of character development and these relationships and stuff like that. It's like, is that maybe a downfall of, you know?
I always think, is it because we have higher intellect? Is it because we're just better than? That's what I thought you were
I
going to
wish
say.
that was the case. No.
That's what I thought you were going to say. Like,
I'm just used to very emotional, like, you know, endings to stories where it's like it's the pinnacle of everything they've worked towards or whatever.
and you're reading those subtitles.
Yeah, bro.
And you're like, oh, what are they saying?
Dude, I watched the end.
And you're like, yeah.
Did I watch the end of
you.
Attack on Titan? You guys don't know. You know what that is. I watched the end of it.
Oh, it was the end, right?
They actually finally, and it was dope, dude, because I didn't watch the last episode. It was an hour-long episode. I didn't watch it on purpose because I knew it'd be cliffhanger. I watched a 2.5 hour, basically, movie of Attack on Titan, and it summed up the whole story. It was awesome. And it was the last 2 episodes of the season or whatever. Awesome. It was so good. But it just reminds me of like kind of what you can achieve with that quality of, you know, writing. It's just like so good. Love it. And that's the reason why I love, you know, these shows.
What you can achieve with writers that aren't on strike looking for more money when they don't make good quality
yep. There you go.
shows.
There you go. But yeah.
No comment.
Anyway, Attack on Titan was dope. If you like it, if you like crazy, violent animes, check it out.
Are you guys back to Loki? Real quick.
Sorry.
Are you guys looking forward to the finale? Like, have you liked this season better than the first season, or it just feels the same?
It's around the same. Yeah, I guess that'd be a good way of saying it. Yeah,
I like it a little more just because I've enjoyed the characters more.
Yeah, fair.
Of Mobius and Obi. And I think Loki does a really good job of. So I've liked it a little more, but again, not something I'm like, oh, I can't wait every week to watch it. Like I just watched the 2 episodes today back to back because I was like, oh, I gotta, you know, it's not something. With other shows, it's kind of like I can't wait as soon as they drop. I'm watching. Mm-hmm. These are kind of like
with She-Hulk.
You know, that's exactly. Josh, what about you? What is it on your rating as far as like better than the first season, or is it just kind of similar?
I like it better than the first season because my biggest complaint about the first season was we didn't get enough time shenanigans, I guess. And so it's given me a little more of that, like the whole time cop aspect. So yeah, I've enjoyed it more, and I think I just enjoy the characters more than last season. But yeah, I'm curious to see where they go. I'm not like absolutely blown away. I think there's a lot of people out there that are like, this is the best Marvel show. I'm like, it's good. And it's intrigued me, but like, it's all about if they can stick the landing really, for me. Cause then if I probably sound like a broken record, but if they end the season and it's like, you didn't really explain a lot or, you know,
yeah,
I'm like,
if they end the season and we get just another shot of a Kang statue being like, "Ooh,
we didn't change anything,"
I'm gonna be like, "Oh my!" Like I'm gonna lose it because I'm like, there's no point in this. I'm hoping.
Okay, what if it's a statue of Zack Snyder and they say Zack Snyder's the blueprint?
Then I'm in.
Okay,
10 out of 10. Cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of. Do you think they're gonna give us a big Kang final scene or like mic drop like they did in the first season, but kind of being more like, okay, now he's, I don't know what.
I want him to show up and kill Sylvie.
Okay.
Same.
Timely to come back together and be like,
no,
actually, you
I got
die.
I got your hot cocoa right here. And kills her.
I hate
good.
it. I hate
Like
that his
That's
accent.
good.
It's your turn. You got to do a line.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know how you guys do it. You guys are so talented. You know that?
You know what? Hey, Disney, fire Jonathan Majors. I'll take his place.
No, you guys
No big deal.
tag team it.
Okay. Sounds good. Can they do like fuse our faces together?
Hey, they got VFX guys. Work overtime. Use our faces together.
Oh wait, you guys want to actually like body act it too?
Oh, yeah.
I thought you guys were doing like
100%.
voiceovers.
100%.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Maybe you could be the bottom, he could be the top. You guys could do like
Things just got
a
weird.
trench coat situation.
Yeah.
Not like that.
I mean, it's the suit. They've got that blue suit mask.
Yeah.
thing. You can just
Easy.
Two faces.
No, they don't do anything, and they're like, "Yeah, this is like one of his alternates." It's like
That's one of his
We're in the stadium.
they put you in the Quantum Mania.
They're like, yo, if you go back and
Zoom
get it
in.
on,
Wow, they
on
had
digital.
it planned out from the beginning.
There they are.
Mind blown.
Did you see that they did? What was it? They changed
They
the
edited
time
out his
gap.
face and put a new actor in.
No, I'm ready for that though. No, didn't they like some time skip? They were wrong in Spider-Man, and they had to go back and say, "Yeah, that was actually incorrect," and they had to actually change it. They actually admitted that they messed up on some time gap between. I can't remember the movies for Spider-Man. Did you guys not see that?
Uh-uh.
Anyway, that's the thing. Check it out if you're interested
They
in
just,
seeing
like,
more
dubbed it over.
mistakes.
He was like, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's how they did it. They can't just do it.
It's like when you watch
Little
like
substitution.
movies that are rated R movies
Yeah.
on TV.
Eat my socks.
Yeah, it's just a completely different
my
voice.
socks.
You know, Tom Hanks' brother has made a fortune doing
I know, dude.
all the voices like for the Woody toys.
That's how I wish
Like
you were
if Tom
famous.
Hanks like
Really?
he's like Tom Hanks didn't want to do it, so he'd be like, "Hey, my brother's
Oh,
gonna
I
go."
did
And he'd
hear
be like-
that.
So you got his brother Bill Hanks. There's a snake in my boot. Man,
What a cool brother.
what a cool. Yeah, I know.
Okay, Spider-Man: Homecomings. Basically, they said in the movie that it was 8 years after the Avengers, and then in a timeline book they wrote, it was actually 4. Egg on their face.
Dang, that's a long time.
Man, what's
They messed
and
up.
Feige's getting paid millions to do this garbage. No.
Unacceptable.
4 years difference.
Double.
I would accept
Double.
a year. 4. Come on, bro.
Too much. How old is Spider-Man now? He's 28. Jeez.
I mean, Tom Holland can play whatever age he wants. He can be in high school. He can be
is true.
in Uncharted
True.
and be like 47.
That is crazy.
Anyways, I think that's going to do it for our
think that's
episode
it.
this week. We will be back next week with the Loki finale. Rebel Moon trailer is supposed to drop. That comes out in under a month or so. Excited for that. There's going to be, just real quick, they're supposedly going to put Rebel Moon in certain theaters. So hopefully
Not here.
hopefully there's one, maybe in Seattle. I'd drive to Seattle to watch Rebel Moon.
Is it IMAX?
I don't know.
That sounds like his style, but maybe.
But anyways, we'll see. So we'll talk about that next week, and whatever other news happens, make sure you follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We're everywhere. Nerd Age Podcast.
TikTok.
So thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see y'all next week.
See ya.